Well, hello. Good evening, kids. How's everybody doing? There we go. I hope I sound okay. Um, I got a new mic. I have a new microphone. And it's basically a replacement for the microphone that I had. So hopefully, oh, that's a little loud. Hopefully it'll sound good. You guys can hear me clearly. We don't have any issues. Oh, I gotta. Okay, no, that's right. Cool. So we're having some technical difficulties. I want to say first of all, hello to everybody on all the different platforms that I'm on. I want to say hello to everybody on Periscope, on YouTube, on DLive, and on Twitch. I'm unfortunately unable to stream on Bitwave right now. There's some technical glitch that's occurring here. We're going to try and work through this, so I may have to stop and restart the entire stream to get that working. So we'll see what we can do basically to get that all working. Um, and I also need to do just a quick post on social media here. So do my usual due diligence. Um, so yeah, there's been a lot of interesting news that's been happening. um, I don't even remember if I talked about this at all. Um, in my other streams because I don't remember. Did I talk? Did I actually while I was streaming did this whole Pelosi thing happen, or was it after my stream ended? Because I have a feeling it happened like afterwards. But I remember talking a little bit about this. It's been a crazy couple days. That's why I'm a little hazy on the details. I've been really busy, really running in 20 different directions. Um, but I really want to address Pelosi Antoinette. My God, the elitism of this woman, it is mind blowing. Absolutely mind blowing. While I get myself sorted out here with my social media postings, I will start talking about this a little bit here. So, for the uninitiated, and those living under a rock, apparently, what has happened is this. So, California has a lockdown on a lot of their businesses. A lot of businesses cannot do anything indoors. There's some guidance for doing stuff outdoors depending on your business. And specifically, the San Francisco Department of Public Health said that hair care or personal care businesses are not allowed to do anything indoors. So what happens? Pelosi's people contacts this salon. The beautician contacts the owner, says Pelosi wants her hair done. The beautician goes, Pelosi? Okay. And they have a discussion, and the owner says, okay, fine, do it. So, from what I'm understanding, this is what the story is told, what's been relayed. So then what happens? There's security camera, and the owner thinks about it and says, you know what? Nah, this is bull crap. And she posts it online. Pelosi's response? Pelosi's response is, I'm the victim. I'm the one that was set up. I take responsibility for falling for this. So, there's a couple things about that I want to address. Um, First of all, she has been a representative of San Francisco for a long time. Okay. Uh, you want to tell me that you're so out of touch with the community that you represent that you have zero clues about what they're talking about? You seriously want to make that claim? That you don't even know what the local ordinances and such are of the district that you represent? She represents that area. It's a salon that she claims she has gone to for years and years. Really, I don't know if she was contacted by the salon. I heard that the salon, that she contacted the salon. Pelosi contacted the salon or the stylist. But the point is, it almost doesn't even matter. It almost doesn't even matter who contacted who, because if they set this up, and this was my second point, the Speaker of the House is supposed to be third in line at the presidency. Okay? This is supposed to be the person, this is the Plan C person. If Plan A fails and Plan B fails, then you have Plan C, who's supposed to take over the duties of president. If Pelosi was thwarted and fooled by a salon, okay, by a stylist and a salon, what confidence does anybody have that she could actually fulfill the duties of a president and deal with foreign powers and deal with terrorist attacks and deal with threats, domestic and foreign, and deal with all the issues that a president needs to deal with? If you get bamboozled so easily by a salon, okay? No. I call bullshit on that. I don't believe that she was set up. And even if she was, again, she's the one that's been vilifying people to wear masks. She's the one vilifying openings. She's the one that's been calling for stricter lockdowns. Shouldn't you know better? Shouldn't you follow your own rules that you're setting? She is a nut, absolutely. No doubts about that. You know, a long time ago, someone told me that the United States, the continent of the North America, is at an angle, and it's going downward towards California. That's why all the nuts roll to California. Excuse me. Someone told me that a long time ago, and I always found that to just be funny. You know what frustrates me then more than anything is this. So not only did she's so idiotic, apparently she doesn't even realize the rules of the place that she's supposed to represent. Not only is she so dumb and so bamboozled by people that she gets fooled by a salon for a setup, okay? Not only that, what does she do? She throws the owner under the bus, basically. She ruined this woman's livelihood now, because she accused this woman without any evidence to back up her claims. And she wouldn't even take questions about it. She wouldn't even address it. She barely just said that one statement, and she's like, I'm not going to answer questions about this. Because when reporters were trying to get more information, she's like, no, I already said I'm not going to take questions about that. So not only did she get bamboozled, not only is she ignorant of the laws of the area of which she is supposed to be representing, on top of that, she's vindictive. And this woman, the salon, the owner, has had her life threatened. She's a single mother of, I think she has 2 kids. She ruined her livelihood. She's going to have to move her salon and shut it down. And not only that, she also ruined the stylists that work for the salon. Because now they're going to have to find a new chair. Because that's how salons work. Salons have different chairs that people can go in and rent, basically. Now, whether you agree or not that this woman set Pelosi up or not, Let's pretend she did. Okay, let's pretend this woman was a evil conservative and was anti-Pelosi and anti-lockdowns and decided to set this whole master plan into place to to trick Pelosi, which apparently seems pretty easy to do, but to trick Pelosi, and no problem. Enjoy the delicious salad, sir. Not only that, she put this whole thing together to nail Pelosi. Okay, fine. All right. Does she still deserve to be thrown under the bus by Pelosi, as she was? Does she deserve the death threats, her livelihood taken away from her? You know, if she did, let's say she did set Pelosi up. I don't agree with setting Pelosi up. I don't think she should have done that if that is the case. I don't believe that's the case, though. But let's pretend for the sake of argument that it is. It doesn't warrant death threats. It doesn't warrant destroying her livelihood. Okay, okay. And Pelosi being an important figure, God knows why, but being a figure of note, should have the maturity and should not basically try to ruin people's lives just because they slighted her. Okay? And I do remember now more clearly, like when I talked about it, I talked about Pelosi being a C word and I didn't want to say it, but now I am going to say it because now that she threw the woman under the bus, oh, she is a cunt. I don't care. I'm going to say it. She is wholeheartedly deserving of that scorn, in my view. It is just absolutely disgusting that's what she's doing. Okay? And on top of that, people are defending her. You have people defending her actions. Because again, it doesn't even that's the thing. It doesn't even matter that it was a setup or not. The fact that she just decided to get her hair done while other people couldn't and were forced not to and were fined and their licenses removed if they wanted to cut people's hair. The fact that she just went there and not only went there, didn't wear a mask. Okay? That is the height of hypocrisy, the height of elitism, the height of rules for me and not for thee. It is disgusting, and I get it. Okay, I get it. Some people are saying, well, there are much bigger issues happening in the world. This isn't life or death. This isn't this isn't something that is of biblical proportions. I understand that. I do understand that, but the thing is, it really highlights the continued hypocrisy that is happening on the side of the Democrats. Okay? That's really what it is. That's the thing that's frustrating to people, is this insistent and constant hypocrisy on the left. That they can demand you do stuff. They can ruin your livelihood. They can put you under the gun, so to speak, in terms of people threatening your life. You even have Biden, for example, with the guy that got shot by Antifa. He said, oh, he probably instigated it. Really? Really? That's where you're gonna go. That's where you're gonna go with. Saying that a guy that was summarily executed by a domestic terrorist organization it just amazes me. These people do not care if conservatives. Let's not even conservatives. Let's not even say that, because it's not just conservatives. It's any non-Democrat that toes the line. Because they've eaten their own. There's been plenty of self-immolation within the Democrats as well. So this isn't something unique to a conservative versus a liberal thing. This has to do with anyone who doesn't toe their narrative and their party line. They don't care about you. And in the extreme cases, in the case of conservatives and supporters of Trump, for example, you have people like Kamala Harris that said, once we get in power again, watch out, we're going to come after you. And you have Biden saying that it doesn't even matter that this guy was executed in the street, because he was the instigator. He probably instigated it. So he deserved to get himself killed, according to Biden. Excuse me one moment. I'll be right there. All right. Sorry, just needed something to drink. See, in my morning streams, I have coffee, but I don't have any coffee right now, so I have to get something else. All right. Then you have the left saying that people like Kyle Rittenhouse, for example, is premeditated murder. Like, I've seen this on Float right now, which is absolute bullshit. The guy didn't go out there with the plan of killing people. He went out there, he was cleaning stuff, and he was chased down and attacked. He had every right to defend himself. And if he goes there to counter-protest, yeah, of course he knows it's a volatile situation. Because the argument that's being put forth to me here on, and I'll respond to this on Float eventually, but what's being put forth is, like, he drove into a situation that was volatile, he knew the risks, so if he kills someone in self-defense, it's not self-defense, it's premeditated murder. No. Okay? If I go into a protest, like, let's say I want to go to the protest, one of the protests that's happening near my home. I am armed because I want to defend myself, because I know these protests have been violent, because they're not protests. They're just anarchy run wild. They're riots, they're arson, they're looting. They're not protests. Just because I'm armed and I'm aware of a volatile situation and I want to be there because of whatever reason, be it whatever reason, not premeditated murder, like if I go there because I want to provoke an attack to kill, that's a different thing. He didn't go there just to provoke people. There's a video of him just cleaning graffiti and trying to clean up and doing stuff. He was just there as a counterpoint. So no, I don't believe that he deserves the death penalty. I don't believe that this was premeditated murder. If it was premeditated murder, he wouldn't have been the one being chased. He would have been the one chasing people. Excuse me, just drinking some more of my fluids here. So I'm not going to call out who this person is on Float that it says as premeditated murder, but I am going to say that you're way off base, buddy. I hope you listen to the stream, because you are way off base. And I'm gonna bring up here my window so I can see chat and other things here. Okay, yeah, because I unfortunately I'm gonna have to. I can't have Bitwave running for some reason. It won't work. So what it boils down to is this: Pelosi is a incredibly elitist schmuck. It is incredibly, unbelievably hypocritical of her, what she did. And I understand people on the left saying, oh, boo-hoo, this isn't really a big deal, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. And on the grand scheme of things, maybe it isn't, okay? Maybe it isn't. I'm going to move my chair here one moment so I can sit down. Maybe it isn't. But I will tell you this. This just plays into exactly what everybody says about the left. Like the conservative perception of the left. That these people, they don't care. They don't care about your livelihood. They don't care about you. Hey, Oatmeal slash DSP official on Bitwave. Thanks for joining up on YouTube. Yeah, I'm having technical issues with Bitwave. So anybody that's on Bitwave, I put that message in chat. Please hop on to the other platforms because unfortunately, it's a problem. I dispatch the owner is working on it. Hopefully, we'll get this resolved before tomorrow morning so I can do my morning stream. So yeah, welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming in. And this is a reminder to everybody, being the Thursday stream. This is more of a kind of a podcast thing, and more of a participatory thing. I want to chat with chat of all the platforms I'm on, and if you want to call in for a couple seconds, say a few things, ask a question, talk about an item of news that's happening right now, you can call in. Go on Discord; it's in the description. And get into the waiting room, and if I can throw you in there, sure. I'll put you on air. You don't have to. Sorry, I was drinking again. I'm parched. So, moving on though, other things that have happened here in the news, primarily that hypocritical, yes, but unsurprising, yeah. For sure, Trolio. It's just not surprising at all. I mean, the whole ice cream thing. She's like Marie Antoinette. In fact, I've been calling her Pelosi Antoinette because she's been acting like such an elitist schmuck. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. So what else happened in the news? You had Chris Cuomo in the news for a while. Oh, but the last thing about Nancy Pelosi, actually, this was freaking hilarious today. The press secretary. What's her name? Is her name Kelly McKinney? Kaylee McEnany. Kaylee McEnany. I always mess up her name. They had the video of her in the salon in a loop during the White House press conference. Oh my god. Yeah. It's hilarious. It is absolutely freaking hilarious. We also have a couple other trends happening right now on Twitter that we can talk about. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. You have two trends: Commander-in-Chief and Sent by God. Because apparently there's some Trump supporters who say they believe that he was sent by God. They're free to believe that. It's also because President Trump retweeted it. I don't necessarily believe any politician is sent by God. I do find it, the timing of Trump being president and all that, I do find it rather interesting in terms of timing and everything like that, because our country is at quite a crossroad. And so it's an interesting perspective for some people to attribute this sort of divine intervention. It's not surprising to me, though. Actually, it's not really surprising because our nation, we are a Judeo-Christian nation, essentially. Well, we're a nation based off of Christian beliefs. That's really what it is. It's the foundation of our principles are based in Christianity and Christian philosophy, and there's nothing wrong with that. So there's always been this underlying kind of faith that this country has, even if you're not Christian. There's been always this kind of strong religious undertone of the destiny of the United States. That manifest destiny, that philosophy. So it's a very interesting way of viewing politics and viewing the history of the United States until, from inception to present. Um, like I said, I don't necessarily prescribe to that sort of thing, that people are sent from God. Or at least not politicians. I don't know. I haven't seen anything to give me that sort of point of view on Trump just yet. So I don't know if I would ever take it to that point, but I do think that him being president is quite apropos, in the sense, as I mentioned, we were kind of at a crossroads here. The Republican Party was pretty much in disarray. There wasn't any real strong conservatives anymore, or at least any strong conservatives that could actually get elected and have an influence. And it's amazing to me how unified the Republicans are now versus the non-Republicans, which are just rhinos and Democrats, where they're very much in disarray. Actually, they are the ones now that are in complete disarray. So that's what it boils down to. PolitiFact is still trying to peddle bullcrap about that the CDC did not adjust data to reduce U.S. death toll related to COVID-19. They did. Okay, PolitiFact, you can go jump in a lake. They did. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, actually more so than this, because I'm just tired of these fake fact checkers, is Cuomo. So Governor Cuomo talked about, because Trump went over to Kenosha. Biden was saying, "Oh, that's all political. He shouldn't be doing that. Blah blah blah. This and that." And then all of a sudden, it was a huge success for Trump, and he goes, I'll go too." He's like, "Yeah, it's a good idea after all. God works with what he gets." Oh yeah, the ice cream thing with Pelosi, that came towards the beginning of the lockdowns, when people were losing their livelihoods. She's eating expensive ass ice cream and a ridiculously expensive fridge on video. Yeah, $25,000 fridge, if I'm not mistaken, and she spent like thousands of dollars on gourmet gelato or gourmet ice cream. Mm-hmm. Well, you know me, there is a philosophy. Actually, it's less a philosophy, more a Catholic doctrine. If you study Catholicism in any sort of depth, one recurring theme that is taught is that. Well, let me kind of rephrase that. There's always a question that comes to people's minds when bad things happen, or there's evil in the world, or some catastrophe occurs and a lot of people die, and things of that nature. There's always a question that comes to certain people's minds that say, well, if God exists, why does God allow this sort of thing to happen? And there's a lot of theological and philosophical discussion when it comes to that sort of thing, but it kind of boils down to this philosophy and belief that, well, one, it has to do with freedom that we are given to live our lives. We're not puppets that are controlled. We are given free reign to either do right or wrong. But the philosophy that I'm talking about, and the theological doctrine that I'm thinking about, free will, exactly. It has to do with free will. Has to do with, well, when something bad happens, God gets something positive out of it. So if evil exists, then God can extract good from that. Something good can come out of it. If bad things happen, good can come out of that tragedy. And it's not always obvious what good can come out of it. So it's difficult for people to wrap their heads around this sort of concept, because they're like, well, what good can come of 9/11? Or what good can come of what happened in the Middle East with ISIS? For example, that Christians were being persecuted, that there was a Christian genocide that happened out there, for example, and gays are being thrown off buildings. What good can come of that sort of brutality? Well, look at what is happening now with the potential peace that can have a much greater impact long term. Nobody saw this coming. And it's not something that happens, this good that comes of something bad or evil. It isn't something that's immediate. Sometimes it takes time. So it's a very interesting, like, if you study theology and philosophy, especially when it comes to Catholic teachings, there's a lot of very fascinating stuff. And I would highly recommend to anybody, if you really want to have a very high level learning experience. That's a very good way of putting it, Meave. Yeah, it's like a bug's view versus a human's view in a way. He is much vaster through time and space. Absolutely. If you believe in God, and I believe in God, yeah, our point of view is very linear compared to an omniscient being that can do anything. So yeah, it's a whole different perspective. It's a completely different perspective on things, and it is rather fascinating to have this sort of discussion. And like I was saying, I would recommend, if anybody wants to learn a lot about sort of Catholicism, that sort of philosophy, there's this series called Word on Fire by Bishop Barron. I highly recommend that. It's really good stuff. And I've always enjoyed all his videos because they're entertaining, but they're also very stimulating, mentally stimulating. They're very intellectual, and I enjoy that very much. So I would recommend that if you want to look into that sort of stuff. But going back to Cuomo, you're talking about God and good and all that kind of stuff, and then you go to Cuomo. What a terrible transition. Oh, goodness. So Andrew Cuomo, Governor Cuomo, this piece of work. He essentially threatened the life of the president. So I do hope that Secret Service goes and pays him a little visit, and I'm wondering what Congress is going to do about it, if they're going to do anything about it. I mean, this has gone too far with all these politicians threatening violence, not towards only the president, but towards conservatives. Maxine Waters, AOC, Ayanna Presley, Governor Cuomo, Governor Whitmer, all these other politicians out there inciting violence. This is really a bad thing. I talked about this in my last stream, not so much about Cuomo because this happened afterwards. But Cuomo said that if President Trump is going to be visiting New York, that he better bring an army with him. Because he's basically saying that he's going to get attacked. He's encouraging people to attack him, essentially. Now, some can say, oh, he didn't really mean it that way. He just meant that there's a lot of people unhappy with him, and you may have people that will attack him. But that's basically the same thing, though. He's essentially threatening the president, saying, you come to New York, you're going to be met with violence. He didn't say by who. He didn't say if it was going to be him. He didn't say it was going to be government entities or militia or National Guard or anything like that. But you know what? I'm pretty damn sure. This is one thing that I would say to Andrew Cuomo, if Andrew Cuomo ever gets wind of the stream, which I doubt he will. But let's pretend that he does. I would say this to Andrew Cuomo directly. Hey, Andrew. let me tell you one thing. I have a feeling that as much as the cops and everybody hates your freaking guts in New York, I have a feeling that everyone will volunteer on law enforcement, National Guard, state police. You're going to have the vast majority will be more than happy to defend Donald Trump. And you know what? You say he should bring an army. Guess what? He does have an army, the United States Army. And he can bring it with him, no problem. Okay? So you can take your petty little childish threats and stick it up where the sun don't shine. Okay? Excuse me, just drinking here because I'm parched for some reason. So that's what it boils down to. By the way, does my mic sound okay? Because this is the brand new mic that I got. I hope everybody can hear me well. Everybody, I sound good. I sound clear. Great. Thanks. Just checking. Because when we had those mic issues the first time, before I switched over to the wireless one, it was the exact same model. This is a replacement. So I'm a little paranoid right now about it. I'm really hoping that it doesn't. I don't have a redux here, a repetition of what happened. Oh yeah, there's some other things I wanted to talk about, which I have here in my bookmarks. So there's also a lot of discussion of what is going on with this whole mail-in ballots and trying to ensure that the election is legitimate, and not only that it's a legitimate election, that it's also fair, and that it is on the up and up. You know, you want to make sure that there's no fraud. So you have a tweet that Trump put out, which I thought was actually pretty funny. If you read into it a little bit further, because this is the tweet. He had a couple of tweets that came out, and of course Twitter is being an absolute ass and says that it violates Twitter rules about civic and election integrity. So this is so dumb that Twitter has to label that, because the whole point of Trump's tweet was for election integrity. So this is what he said. He said, I'll see if I could do the Trump voice. All right, people. All right. Based on the massive number of unsolicited and solicited ballots that will be sent to potential voters for upcoming 2020 elections, you got that? And in order for you to make sure your vote counts and is counted, it's got to count. Sign and mail in your ballots as early as possible on election day or early voting. Go to your polling place. You got to go to see whether or not your mail-in vote has been tabulated or counted. If it has, you will not be able to vote, and the mail-in system worked properly. If it has not been counted, vote, which is a citizen's right to do. It's your right. You got to do it. Fantastic. We got the best polling stations. If your mail-in ballot arrives after you vote, which it should not, that ballot will not be used or counted, and that your vote has already been cast and tabulated. You are now assured that your precious vote has been counted. It hasn't been lost, thrown out, or in any way destroyed. God bless America. There we go. That's my terrible impression of Trump. I don't think I'm going to do that anytime soon again. I got to work on it. I think I can do better. I think I could absolutely do better. But anyways, the point is this. What I thought was very funny about this was that essentially to verify that your mail-in ballot is counted properly, you need to go to the polls. Which, I don't see any reason why people can't go to the polls. Honestly, there is absolutely no reason for it. There is no reason to not go. Just go. Pelosi went and got her hair done without a mask. There's no problem. You had Ruth Bader Ginsburg officiating a wedding, and she's supposed to be like one of the most high-risk demographics for the COVID. Cancer survivor, super elderly, and she was there without a mask, officiating a wedding. So, what it boils down to is that this whole mail-in ballot bullshit is just that. It's bullshit. It's politics. That's all it is. There's reports of people getting mail-in ballots for their dogs. There's mail-in ballots going to homes. There's no verification. There's nothing going on there that can really ensure the integrity and legitimacy of a person's vote. Yet the left is pushing for this because that's what they want. They want to do ballot harvesting. They want to be able to oh, look, 2 weeks after election, look, we found all these ballots right over here. Oh, gee, what a surprise. Oh, look, now all of a sudden Biden's ahead, even though Trump had won in a landslide. Oh, goodness gracious me. Gee willikers. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna, no. And people are even talking, Trump has said that he was gonna commit to putting guards, to have not just guards, but have a federal presence at the polls to ensure that people aren't intimidated, to ensure that people can go without any issue. And you had some people complaining about that. And you know what? There's this one tweet by Lady Patriot at Merrick Tear 1. I guess that's how it's pronounced. I'm not sure. Point is, she says, I'm old enough to remember when Obama was running for president. Black Panther members were at many polls across the nation intimidating voters. Armed. I remember seeing that too. Yet I don't recall anybody on the left really complaining about that. So I find it very ironic that they didn't have an issue with Black Panthers intimidating people, but somehow having a federal presence to ensure the integrity of the elections, that somehow bunches people's panties. I don't know. Seems very strange to me. Then you have other stuff that's happening in Ohio, where this is something that's disturbing. This has to do with COVID, okay? In the middle of the night, Governor Mike DeWine and the Ohio Department of Health, they're at it again. These were the people that had banned hydroxychloroquine, and then they had to reverse that decision. Signed an order creating FEMA camps to isolate asymptomatic, high-risk, exposed, not necessarily COVID-positive people. What the hell? What the hell is that even? Asymptomatic, so there's no symptoms. High-risk, exposed. So as long as the government of Ohio considers that you have been exposed to COVID and not necessarily COVID, you're at high risk for something, exposed to something, and you're not showing any symptoms, they want to throw you in some sort of concentration camp. What the freaking hell is happening in Ohio? Have they lost their freaking minds? Whoa, this is unbelievable to hear something like this. What the hell is going on? And speaking of insanity, one more thing that I want to talk about is there's this memo that Trump signed that he wants to defund places like New York, Minneapolis, and other cities, Portland, other cities that are under Democrat control that have completely lost any sort of control in their city. I honestly am okay with that. If these cities don't care about their people and plans on putting them at risk of being murdered in the streets just because they happen to not agree with the left's politics, I am perfectly okay with defunding our anarchy, basically defunding New York and defunding Portland and defunding Minneapolis and things of that nature. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, these people do not deserve taxpayer money to bail them out because they don't know how to run their cities or their states. Why should citizens of other places have to bear the burden of their failures? I don't agree with that. Absolutely not. So, taking another sip of my drink here. So I don't agree. I don't agree with these bailouts. I don't agree that a taxpayer from, I don't know, from North Dakota or Idaho or Florida has to bail out New York because New York doesn't know what the hell they're doing. That's not right. And I wouldn't expect, like, wherever I live, if the place where I live is out of control, I don't have an expectation that people from other states need to bail me out. No way. I don't think it's right. So, I'm okay with that. And apparently that really got under the skin of Cuomo. Uh, he was having an online hissy fit over it. It was actually quite comical. Um, but the world's gone mad. The world's gone mad. It absolutely has. I mean, you have people in Canada. let me let me tell you this. Okay, so this is Canada. This just shows you how insane Canada is. Because some people want to say, "Oh, Canada's better than the United States." All right, well, let me throw this out here, chew on it, and let me know what you think. So, this is according to Reuters. Skip kissing and consider wearing a mask when having sex to protect yourself from catching the coronavirus, Canada's chief medical officer said on Wednesday, adding that going solo remains the lowest risk sexual option in a pandemic. Dr. Teresa Tam said in a statement, there is little chance of catching COVID-19 from semen or vaginal fluid. But sexual activity with new partners does increase the risk of contracting the virus, particularly if there is close contact like kissing. Sorry, I need a moment here to I just got a visual in my head of two people with masks on. Just going at it with a mask on. See, this is the problem. If you have a very vivid imagination like I do, it's a problem. It's a really big problem. Because you read this sort of stuff and immediately, bing! That sort of stuff comes into your mind. You're like, God almighty, just get it out. So yeah, I don't know what she's talking about in terms of, I have not read anything about transmission via sexual intercourse of COVID. I don't know what the statistics are on that. Okay. However, I find it very strange. Um, I would find it very strange that if you have COVID and all you do is the sexual act and there's no kissing, no breathing on each other, nothing else, that the transmission is low. It would seem to me that if you have that virus throughout your body, it would be there too. Um, and I think I even read actually at one point during this whole pandemic thing. I could be wrong, but I think I remember reading somewhere that they said that it was President Seaman. Maybe I'm wrong, but I remember reading something about that. I'm gonna have to look that up to verify that. I keep hitting my filter here. Sorry. I'm gonna have to look into that to see if I remember correctly. But either way, that's just comical. I just, oh boy. This is where we're at in 2020, where government is telling you basically don't have sex. If you gotta have sex, wear a mask. This is probably the most ridiculous thing and overreach of government I have ever heard in my life. Where does a government go off telling people what to do in the bedroom? Shut up! Mind your own business. Okay? This is so dumb. This is so dumb. I cannot believe the stuff that I'm hearing now. Oh my goodness. So there we are. That's what's going on right now at the time of this stream here, and I was thinking about doing the game, The Fate of Atlantis, a little bit, but it's getting kind of late. I started late. Honestly, I have a bit of a headache. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep this stream up for much longer. But this is the ridiculous thing that we find ourselves in nowadays. I'm trying to think. There was another thing that had come up in the news that I wanted to talk about. Let's see if I remember, because I had heard about this and I wasn't sure. Let's see. Just let me take a look here. Um. Oh yeah, there was this whole baloney. There's this baloney about Trump having strokes, which doesn't exist. Um, the Trump's doctors came out and said that he had no issues. He was never at a hospital. His health is perfectly fine. You have this whole. It's so funny to me, actually. You know, it's so funny to me to hear that people are so still spinning on this nonsense of Trump's health. They've been doing that since 2016, saying that he was unhealthy, he's obese, that this and that, and his doctors keep saying, you know, and the official doctor there of the White House, he keeps saying, you know, there's nothing wrong with him. He's perfectly healthy. And they're so if they're so concerned, if they're so concerned about Trump's health, You would think that with the way Biden has been acting and talking, and how obviously his cognitive capabilities are declining big time, wouldn't you think they'd be concerned about that too? But they aren't, again, because this is all political. They don't care. They do it because they were trying to say that he's not healthy enough to be president. That's what it boils down to. So it's obvious bullcrap. Yeah, only if their concern was nonpartisan. Yeah, unfortunately, their concern is partisan because it has nothing to do with his health. It has everything to do with the fact that they're trying to deflect away from the fact that their candidate can't even string a sentence together. And if they can disqualify Trump on health reasons, they won't have to do a debate. I cannot wait for the debate, by the way. I think I'm going to do an entire debate stream like we did for the primaries and like we did before. I want to see this. I'm going to have popcorn. I'm going to have soft drinks. I'm going to have candy. I'm going to make this a extravaganza. I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be prepared for entertainment. Because this, I gotta see. Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. They've been trying to weasel out of a debate, the Biden's campaign and the Democrats. They've been trying to weasel out of a debate. Biden will be drinking liquid amphetamine for a debate. I don't know how they're gonna prep him up for that, because even in interviews, like in interviews with news outlets and stuff like that, he's been given he's been given scripted answers. He's been given scripted answers. He's been reading off the teleprompter. He barely can answer a question without any sort of assistance. The guy is a walking disaster. And every time he talks, he does way more damage to himself than helping himself. His campaign right now, every battle state right now, Trump has been gaining points, Biden has been losing ground. And in some states, Trump actually surpassed him. Trump's campaign has gotten a huge wind of momentum and wind in its sails, while Biden's is beginning a downward spiral. I mean, a pretty severe one. It would not surprise me if the trend keeps going. I mean, the polls now, even though these polls generally have always been skewed towards the left, even those that are skewed towards the left are showing statistically insignificant differences now. You're seeing that downward trend. That's an interesting point, Trolio. The election isn't truly Trump versus Biden, it's Trump versus non-Trump. I don't think the debates will really cause many people to jump sides. I think there's some validity to that. I believe that the people that plan on voting for Biden, I don't think their minds are going to be changed. Like the people that want to vote for Trump, I don't think their minds are going to be changed. I think what's going to happen though is, if you see many people that are a bit more on the fence, if they see a very, very poor performance on the side of Biden, okay, which has been happening for a long time already. I mean, the fact is that Biden cannot hold up. He went out to Pennsylvania, spoke for 14 minutes, and then the whole campaign went on lockdown, and they put a lid on all their activities for an entire week. because it was that bad. He was supposed to go and answer questions. He was supposed to do something much bigger. He ended up reading just a 12-minute speech and then went away. There is something definitely going wrong on the side of the Democrats and with Biden. And I think that there's a lot of issues. I think Biden has better days than others. There are some days where he speaks more, more coherently than others. While there are other days that the guy can't make any sense. His brain is just scattered. And he looks like he's completely lost. Like you look at his eye, look into his eyes, and he's just not there. There's something really wrong with that man, and it angers me. That's a good question, actually, Trolio. Has anyone analyzed differences between his speaking abilities in the morning versus evenings? I'm not sure if anybody has. I haven't read anything about that, and I haven't done anything personally myself because I'm more of a reactionary news kind of guy. I just look at the news, I react to it. Unfortunately, I'm a busy guy. As you can see from the production values, I don't do a whole lot of amazing amounts of prep here in research. I do what I need to do to keep up to date with what's happening, and I do that so I can make sure I'm aware of what I'm talking about. But beyond that, like I don't go into these in-depth analyses of that kind. The term sundowning refers to a state of confusion occurring in the late afternoon and spanning into the night. So, sundowning can cause a variety of behaviors such as confusion, anxiety, aggression, and ignoring directions. That's what is pasted by Trolio in Bitwave chat. Yeah, that could be a possibility that's happening. I don't know. I'm not gonna make a claim one way or the other because I really don't know. It would be interesting to see when he speaks, what time it is, and see how well he performs versus others. For example, during the primary debates, the Democrat primary debates, Biden did seem to be, like, at the beginning of the debate, fresher, more focused, more energetic, and he could only keep that sort of thing up, it seemed to me, for about 30-40 minutes, tops. After that, there was a serious decline in how he was answering questions. He stuttered more. There was more confusion, misspeaking. Just there's a lot more happening as the debate progressed, time-wise. So I think the same thing is essentially going to happen with Trump's debates here, with a Biden versus Trump debate. I think that when it starts, it's going to be better for Biden, and by the end of it, I think he's going to be struggling big time. And the thing is, this is the other thing. Trump is the kind of person, whether you like him or not, you have to admit that Trump is the kind of person that is kind of quick on his feet, in the sense that he can come up with stuff to say on the spot without any sort of rehearsal, without any sort of practice. Like if you look at the debate with Hillary Clinton, for example, she had the questions beforehand. She even had the advantage because Donna Brazile had given her the questions. Okay? Yet, he still destroyed her, essentially. And he threw like zingers and quips out, and she had no rebuttal. Trump does have very good mental acuity for his age, absolutely. He doesn't even seem like someone his age in terms of how he talks, how he acts. He seems he's much stronger mentally. So that is something that the Biden campaign, they're definitely going to have to address somehow. I don't see how they can, though. I don't see any feasible way of them to address that sort of issue. Because, I mean, even Hillary Clinton and other people that debated him, all the Republicans that debated him during the Republican primaries, nobody could keep up with him. Nobody could. He was thrashing everybody in those debates. And every debate he did, it went better and better for him. So I have a feeling that the Biden campaign, they're going to go through their motions. They're going to go through the prescripted answers that they're going to have for all different issues. They're going to try and prep Biden as much as possible, but Biden's going to be Biden. And it's going to be a verbal bloodbath, I think. I just don't see how Biden would be able to counterpunch. And it's going to be wildly entertaining. That's for damn sure. It's going to be wildly entertaining. Oh my goodness. I really want to see. I really want to see how this ends up panning out. Oh boy, oh boy. Another thing I just saw in the news here, let me see if I can find the page again. There's still no arrest on the guy that killed the Trump supporter. He actually did an interview with Vice, and somehow he's still not arrested. I don't know why he hasn't been arrested yet. That's just insane. Other news items, GWD professor who pretended to be black went to a fee-paying school where she planned to flag burn. So, this is ridiculous. Let me go into this article, go a little bit deeper here into this. This is the Daily Mail. So, African American history professor at GWD who pretended to be black pictured in yearbook of fee-paying school where she boycotted prom and planned a flag burning. As neighbors say, disgraced academic called her white trash. Jessica Krug, 38, revealed on Thursday that she has lied about being black her entire career. She admitted to deceiving her friends and colleagues. She said in a blog post that she is white, Jewish, and was raised in Kansas City. Now, DailyMail.com can exclusively reveal how Krug went to the exclusive Barstow School in Kansas City, where she was described as very political. A former classmate told DailyMail.com that she identified as a white Jewish girl. They said Krug boycotted prom and planned a flag burning, graduating in 1999. Her current neighbor in the Bronx told the DailyMail.com that Krug would call her white trash and tell her she was gentrifying the neighborhood. This is mental illness. I mean, how could this be interpreted in any other way when you pretend to be another race? It's just beyond me. This is the same crap that Dolenzal lady was pulling. She was saying that she was black when she's not. Elizabeth Warren saying she's Indian when she's not. Because they want to take advantage of getting into schools for free. Because apparently there is no white privilege. This is ridiculous. This is a joke. This is an absolute joke. Well, I mean, the truth is now out about this woman. Hopefully the school will ask for some money back. That's what I would do. If I was a school, I'd ask for some money back. And I think, with that, I think we're going to call it a night at the stream. I know it's been a shorter stream. I was having, with all the technical difficulties that we had, I had to stick to only 4 of the platforms that I usually stream on. Unfortunately, Bitwave didn't work out for today. Hopefully tomorrow morning it will. Let's see if Dispatch can get that working. I'm going to shamelessly promote myself for a moment here. Some shameless self-promotion. Hey, if you enjoy hearing me talk about technical difficulties and ranting and raving about politics and such, please consider supporting me at streamlabs.com/theeternalabyss. I do have an Ethereum crypto wallet as well that you can donate to. I'm going to put that in the description soon enough whenever I get around to it. And on top of that, just follow. Honestly, the best gift you can give me is not even monetary. The best gift I can get is support, follow, growth, more views. The more people that follow and share and help me grow, the better. So please do so on all the different platforms: Twitter, Gab, Parler, Minds, Float, and on all the video platforms: YouTube, Periscope, DLive. Hey, thanks for the follow. I heard the scream. Hey, Trollia, thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. Yeah, that's the best gift you can do, is just follow on all the different platforms, share, help me grow. And we're gonna call it a night here. I want to thank everybody for watching, and everybody on the different platforms. We'll see you tomorrow. Should be around the same time for the Abyss AM edition, around 10 a.m. Have a good night, everybody. And of course, remember, I always say this as we part, don't be complacent. That's it. Good night. See you tomorrow. Oh, it's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, just to be sure. All right. Don't be complacent. See you tomorrow.